Do you like shrimp? What about lobster? Do you like pork? Maybe you like bacon. Well, we're going to look today where those foods fall on the spectrum of clean and unclean according to the law that God gave Moses for the Israelite community. And we're going to see that today in Leviticus chapters 11 through 13. But first, welcome to Experiencing God, 365 Days to the Bible, day 47. So chapter 11 addresses kosher foods according to the law, and kosher foods signify whether or not a food is legitimate and fit for the Israelite community to eat. And so this law in chapter 11 starts with animals of the land, goes to marine life, goes to birds, how to prepare the food, laws on mixing food, and covers insects and reptiles. That part you're not going to have to tell me twice. So ceremonially clean and unclean animals have to deal with whether or not their hooves are split, right? And whether or not they chew their cud. And so clean animals of the land have split hooves and they chew on their cud. Now, if there's an animal that has a split hoof but doesn't chew on its cud, or chews on its cud and doesn't have a split hoof, it is ceremonially unclean. So, clean animals you can eat from marine life. You can have animals that have both fins and scales, okay? So they can be freshwater, they can be saltwater, they can be in deep water, they can be in shallow water. But if they don't have a fin and they don't have a scale, they are unclean. Don't eat them. There's your answer about the shrimp and the lobster. Aren't you glad you don't live in the Old Testament times? All right. It goes on to talk about birds. You're not to eat any bird that's a preying bird. No vultures, no falcons, no ravens, on, right? Goes on to say, don't eat the winged insects. You don't have to tell me that twice, right? Don't eat the animals that scurry on the ground. You don't have to tell me that twice. I will still do that. I will still not do that, right? In this time. Goes on to say, if a rat falls in your clay pot, it's defiled and you must destroy it. Don't have to tell me that twice. So after this law is given on the clean and unclean food, God moves on to purification after childbirth in Leviticus chapter 12. So this part, I wish I had an answer to, and I don't. But if you have a baby, if a woman has a baby and it's a boy, there's a 40-day purification process. If a woman has a baby and it's a girl, it's an 80-day purification process. Tell me why. I don't know. Anyway, so if a woman gives birth to a son, she is ceremonially unclean for 7 days. On the 8th day, the baby is circumcised. After 33 days, she is purified from the bleeding of childbirth. That equals 40 days. If a woman gives birth to a daughter, she is ceremonially unclean for 14 days. After 66 days, she will be purified from the bleeding. That equals 80 days. Why is it double? I don't know. Anyway, after childbirth and the ladies reach the 40-day or the 80-day mark, they are to take a sacrifice to the tabernacle. Now, this sacrifice includes a 1-year-old lamb for a burnt offering and a pigeon or a turtle dove for a purification offering. If the woman cannot afford the lamb, she may bring 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons. After this, she will be ceremonially clean. Chapter 13 goes on to talk about skin diseases, and it covers diagnosing skin diseases, rashes, symptoms of scabs, symptoms of leprosy, symptoms of boils, symptoms of dry scalp, freckles, baldness, and it goes on to discuss how to treat contaminated clothing, including mildew. Chapter 13 is all over the place. Go read it. All right, what stood out to you today? To me, it was no matter what people tell you about what the future is going to look like and what you should eat, Bill Gates telling you to eat insects. Don't eat winged insects or snakes or things that scurry on the ground. They are not kosher. Not kosher according to the Old Testament law, and still don't do it today. If a rat falls in any pots in your home, you can throw them away. Just tell your husband we're going to observe the Old Testament law at this time. This thing touched my pot. It's defiled. We're throwing it away. Like, comment, share, subscribe. God sees you. He loves you. He has a plan for you. I pray the Holy Spirit minister to you today through this. Tomorrow we will continue on with Leviticus chapters 14 through 15. See you there.